Roblox in the 2020s looks like a place for creativity, friendship and good vibes. But what if I told you this colorful metaverse has low-key become a digital hellscape and a straight-up dark web for kids? Behind those pixelated smiles lurk total pedos, showing their origins to other users, gambling addictions, cash scams and where childhood innocence is sold for cheap. How did this virtual paradise in the eyes of millions become a place where kids' dreams run into nightmares that would freak out most adults? Let's break it down, grab a seat, get comfy, I'm at the microphone as always, and let's get this show on the road.
Racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, anti-Semitism.
What's up, comrades? I'll tell you straight, when I first started digging into this topic, I was skeptical about it. I thought it was just a part of this whole trend of bubble raping kids to the point of insanity, where any glimpse of the real world feels like the apocalypse. Plus, I remember early 2020s Minecraft like it was yesterday. We had our share of griefers messing up your builds to steal your stuff, toxic trash talking randos, and weirdos doing the whole squatting thing behind each other, building giant penises, and this. But when I dug a little deeper, I fell into straight up dark web but with a 6+ rating. This stuff is so serious, people are catching real life felony charges and getting sent to the prison. Quick recap for anyone who's been living under a rock and doesn't get the Roblox hype. Roblox is a massive online sandbox. Unlike the legendary Minecraft, Roblox's whole thing is playing tons of mini-games made by other people. And this is the key for our story. You can also build your own worlds and games with their tools. It's like a hybrid of a social network and a game platform. This mix of fun and creativity totally stole a huge chunk of the audience from Minecraft. As of 2025, nearly 100 million people log in every single day. Can you even imagine that? And most of those users are kids who don't always get what's just a game and what's a well-disguised trap. This once bright and innocent project has in recent years, and especially in the last 5 to 6 months, been completely overrun by scammers and perverts preying on the gullible minors. Do you remember when our parents told us not to take candy from strangers on the playground? Well, for today's kids, the playground is Roblox and the strangers are random users. Given the level of absolute chaos we are about to unpack, let's start with something a bit more light. As a warm-up, scams and gambling addiction. With this massive user base, Roblox isn't just a game, it's basically its own economy with a daily population of around 100 million. That's bigger than most European countries. With numbers like that, of course the devs found a way to cash in. As a result, this kids' republic is drowning in gambling. Now, technically casinos and real money gambling are a no-no in Roblox. But there's a virtual currency, Robux, which you can buy with real cash. Plus all these in-game purchases and loot boxes that get kids acting like mini high rollers. So, the kids are constantly draining their parents' bank accounts linked to Apple Pay, dropping thousands of bucks a month on Robux? Lol, that's not even rare anymore, that's just a standard Tuesday. Sometimes it reaches the point of complete insanity, like this one kid from Singapore who blew a whopping 6,000 Singaporean dollars on in-game gift cards. That's practically his mom's 3 months salary as a cashier. You can only imagine the look of pure what the f on her face. So yeah, this wholesome game teaches the kids basics of capitalism through scams and casino-style mechanics. Just beautiful. Besides the degeneracy, the game is also full of good old-fashioned griefers who migrated from Minecraft. Grown adults stealing in-game currency with all sorts of sketchy low-life tactics and sometimes even threatening to dox players. And now, forget the money stuff. Let's get to the heavy artillery, the pedophiles.
You're Joe Biden. I don't want to be a pedophile.
Given the recent news headlines, I think we can all agree that being a child molester, or chomo for short, towards kids is disgusting and deserves the hardest bullying in all aspects of life. But as it turns out, this isn't just about sketchy dudes in fancy suits from the upper class of society. They flock to this computer game rated 9+ just as much. The main reason for this influx of perverts is the lack of real age verification. Any random adult can just lie about their birthday and end up in the same space with with kids, complete with voice chat. This massive loophole makes the game a prime target for bottom feeders of all kinds. In the last 3 months, half of all reported incidents in the game were about stalking minors, including, how do I put this so YouTube doesn't nuke my channel, shady DMs with wanna see something vibes, demanding personal pics, and attempts at virtual, you know what, with game characters. The so-called private servers are especially dangerous. That's where the real shit goes down. In Roblox, private servers are separate game spaces you can only join by the invite from the owner. It's meant for playing with friends without randoms crashing the party. These degenerates and other bioways love using these features because the game moderators can't see inside, creating a perfect space for all kinds of nastiness hidden from view. That's also where they sometimes try to pull players into outside messaging apps to cover their tracks and take things further. The cherry on the top of this digital safety sundae was this one journalist from The Guardian who ran a social experiment inside the game. For a whole week she played Roblox, and you won't believe the stuff that went down. One player sat on her avatar's face and started grinning his virtual cheeks back and forth, even after she asked them to stop. Then a crowd swarmed her, calling her ugly and disgusting. In another game, some dude followed her around pretending to, well, take a dump on her head. And later, in a prison game, they called her fresh meat, beat her up, and then other players started sliding into her DMs with the cringiest, most disgusting pickup lines you can imagine. Sounds nasty, right? Especially for a woman. But here's the kicker. During this whole messed up week, she was role-playing as an 8-year-old girl, and the parental controls, which were turned on and supposed to protect her, were about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. This isn't a game, it's a digital hunting ground for perverts and sadists disguised as an innocent kid's playground. What's the actual hack?
This whole place is a giant mindfuck.
Sometimes the cops actually manage to catch some of these bastards and throw the book at them. Like last month, a court in Bristol sent a real-life SpongeBob looking ass, you can see his mark on screen right now, to prison for 5 years. This piece of shit used Roblox to find victims and then made them watch, let's just say, content from certain black and orange website. He traumatized them for life. Another case from the US. This past May, police nabbed a total waste of space from Fairport, who was also searching for victims on Roblox. He was sending unsolicited pics and tried to meet up with an 11-year-old girl in real life. He's facing 10 years to life imprisonment. And honestly, that's exactly where he belongs. But sadly, these cases are just a drop in the bucket. Only God knows how much of this godless scum is still lurking on the servers right now. Some of you might think I'm being extra salty about this topic, but hear me out. There was this guy in Russia, a hunter for these pedos named Maxim Marcinkevich. He was famous for his Occupy Pedophilia show, where he and his crew would catfish predators trying to hook up with underage ones. During their interviews, they'd ask them a bunch of questions, kinda like a messed up sociology project. And with almost every single one of these guests, a pattern emerged. Their pedophile bingo card usually included no strong father figure growing up, a weak floppy political and civic stance, zero athletic ability, beyond maybe riding a bike. But the cornerstone was almost always that they themselves had been taken advantage of when they were kids. So the victim became the predator. Looking for a way to deal with their own messed up needs, they go and ruin other kids' mental health, setting them up to become monsters themselves. It's a vicious cycle. Because of that broken path, some boys end up becoming chomos themselves, and girls often end up in prostitution. So you start to realize that the ick is primarily passed on through traumatic encounters. Everything else is just a consequence. So, what are we left in the end? On one hand, Roblox is a genius training simulator for future coders and entrepreneurs, letting kids practice creating and even earn some virtual dough from a young age. On the other hand, we have a digital dumpster fire that encourages gambling and addiction, with terrifying security holes that let all sorts of bottom feeders terrorize children. Moments like these make you think it's not a game at all. It's a social experiment that went completely off the rails. And while the company makes billions, perverts, kiddos are getting their first lessons in cruelty and that the world doesn't consist of pink clouds and ponies. But honestly, the answer is it's both equally. Roblox didn't invent anything new, it's just a mirror of our society, with all its potential for creation and all its greed, nastiness and cruelty. So, what we can do to keep the kids somewhat safe? The cyber police advise parents to turn on parental control, limit public and private chats, remove payment info, etc. But let's be real, that's all just putting a band-aid on a broken leg. The only way to truly protect a kid from danger is to explain how it works and how to deal with it. Teach them that blowing thousands of dollars on cosmetic crap that gives you zero advantage in game is a total rip-off. Or if some random dude with a deep voice tries to get you to move to a different app or is way too friendly for no reason, you tell them to kick rocks. Or, you know, just don't let your kid to play the game. But that's a whole nother conversation. Drop a comment below. Have you or anyone you know running these perverts in Roblox? Hit that subscribe button, smash the bell, and remember, on the internet, just like in life, trust but verify. See you soon, comrades.